Hello, guys, and welcome to Air Tycoon Online 3, Episode 3. Today, we're going to be talking about the future of this company because it does not look very good. I've noticed a lot of quite extreme differences between Air Tycoon Online 2 and 3 in the way routes work. And one thing I've noticed is that short range routes are incredibly hard to get right. Now, what I mean by this is short range routes by default have a lower satisfaction. And the reason for this is because, first of all, you probably don't want to be buying the more expensive lower short range planes. And if you do, they have lower satisfaction. And second of all, your services cannot be as good as for long range routes because the ticket price is not as high. For example, this route here has a $270 ticket, but on a long range route, that ticket might be $1,000. So you cannot give $100 worth of services like you can on a long range route. I can't remember what GUI tab to look in to find my services, but let me see if I can find it. It's probably here. Yep, here we go. So if we take a look at my services, this is my ultra short range route preset. I'm not sure if it's too bad, but I don't think I can afford much more. I mean, this cost per person is $12, so that's decent already for an economy class ticket. That's $200. A $12 meal is pretty expensive. Then I have the next preset as $26, $36, $66. This is my long range preset, and this will be my ultra long range preset. Um, yeah, as you know, basically, I just cannot make my services better for my short range routes while still being profitable. Well, I could, and it would probably help, but I already have so many routes um, set in the way they were, and I've never managed to really figure out how they work. This is where I kind of need an offline ATO game. I'm not sure if Air Tycoon Online 5 would it be for the offline version of Air Tycoon when it comes out, or if it's out yet, so I can test and find out all these things instantly instead of waiting 2 hours for each turn to pass. But what I have noticed is the longer range routes are much easier to maintain. Um, as you can see, any average route with a DCA 11 is making 1K, and like the other half of the route is also making around this much, so that is quite healthy basically. um, as you can see, even the worst DC8s like London to Mumbai, I'm not sure why it's so bad, but I think what I have noticed is that occupation drops dramatically as your price gets close to 1.4, like basically exponentially. Um, it's no longer the same as in Air Tycoon 1 or 2 where you can charge max price and it's kind of a linear scaling between your decrease in passengers and your increase in price. But in this game it definitely seems to be exponential because if you look at the profitability, the routes barely seem to matter. Like London to Mumbai is much better than London to Tehran, but it's making far less even though the price is only a little bit lower on London to Tehran. See, this route is making good money. This route is making good money, even though they're not even full yet. Like, these routes have only been around for 2 turns. They're already doing better than a route I've had for a long time, like London to Mumbai, because the price is too high. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm really going to have to tinker a lot with my pricing to try and get it just right in the future, because I think I'm going to abandon this world because, I have negative 40k money, and I've been consistently losing value for so long. I could probably turn it around just by tuning the company, but it'll take a while to ever get a significant amount of cash so I can play the game in a fun way again. So this round is basically over. I have to restart. But I want to, of course, analyze why it went so wrong. Um, I think the hub systems is annoying as fuck. Like, I really wish you could start with 2 hubs because, like, for example, do you see this? I have almost literally every route to London domestically, and they're, of course, all making shit money. And that's basically all I was able to do because I obviously couldn't afford, like there's no more slots in London. There's really nothing I can do. Um, Name value grows really, really slowly, even if you max out advertising. I've had max advertising in Chicago for 3 turns now, and that has amounted to all but 3.8 out of 50 name value I need. That is insane. I do not know how to make that go up quicker, because I can, of course, I only have one hub, so I can only make one route to Chicago. Um, as such, I really wish you could just open a new hub at a greater expense, and it just wouldn't generate as many passengers, but the name value could grow quicker um, than it does now, because it's kind of unbelievably slow, to be honest. Um, yeah, I do not like that. What else? What else? Um, yeah, that's basically all the observations I've made so far. Basically, I think I'm gonna make a second company where I go primarily long range for my aircraft because it's just easier. The Tupolev 104s and 124s just don't make shit money. Like, London to St. Petersburg just accidentally paused the video, should be a good route. It's making jack shit money. Like, I know this is only like a turn or two old, like 2 turns old, but like, I'm not sure why the short range routes just don't seem worth it. Um, Even when they were making profit, 700K net profit. Like, let me see. If I go here into the graphs, yes, as you can see on the turns where they were making profit, the net profit was around 700K. I'm not sure if all those were 700K, if I'd even be turning a net, like, turning in a net profit. Let's see, what am I now? I'm negative 35K. So let me count the number of planes I have, which are running at, what's it called, like 30% occupancy, and multiply that by 0.7. So, here we are. So these are all basically 0, right? So we scroll once, that's 20. 30. Let's just count all of these as if they're almost break even. So I have about 30 planes, which could be making 700K more. Now, it's a slight overestimation, so I'll multiply by 0.5. 15 more K if my low-range routes were performing well. I would still not be positive, basically. So running a company like this is basically doomed. All short-range routes as a start does not work anymore. I do not know why. Do passengers actually understand how transfers and things work? I don't know. There's no explanation on it, so I'll just have to find out as I go. My best routes, oddly enough, also are like routes with heavy competition. I'm not sure why this is the case, but for example, London to Chicago, a route which, should be good in real life, and it's good and it's pretty decent in this game. Of course, I'm doing the worst of all of them because I have the lowest satisfaction, but that is still somehow doing well. So, yeah, I only have that route because I wanted to do a layover using Chicago to Lima as a route, and I thought that was kind of cool that you were allowed to do that, basically. But yeah, anyways, we will be restarting, so let's do that together, I guess. Nope, that is not where to go to restart. Maybe it's here? Nice GUI lag. Yeah, withdraw channel. We will be doing this again. This time in a different way. I'm not sure. I will be continuing to try to restart until I get a start that works, because that once I get a start that works. Oh shoot. Once I get a start that works, I know I can just continue to use that strategy as I go on to hopefully not end up in a situation like I have. I feel like I'm going to be significantly worse off than I was in Air Tycoon Online 2. It's just, this game does not feel as good. It does not feel as good at all. You know what? Why don't I start later in a world? Let me try 1967. Maybe this will be more fun. Starting later on. I've never liked to start early anyway. I just did because I thought it would give me an advantage. So why not just start later and just take it a bit easier, get more money to start, so it's a bit more fun. Of course, if you start at the beginning, by the time you get to a date like 1967, like I am starting now, you will be bigger than I am. Um, Assuming you create a successful company which is not losing money like mine was. Um, so your company will be bigger than mine is, but mine will still grow faster than if I start at the beginning. I just won't have as much time to grow. So it's a little bit more fun to play because you get more money each turn because you start with more money basically. Um, Asia, I'm not starting in Asia. I'm starting in London as I always do. London is not North America. What am I thinking? Um, as you know, I cannot multitask, so. Ooh, wow. This world has very high business and tour, so I am looking forward to this. I'm not sure once again how that. Maybe I should make a cargo company, just something which I've never done before. But if I never even made a cargo, wow, I get 2 million to start. That's clean. Now I do start as level 2, so that kind of sucks. But as I'm doing strictly long range routes, I don't think that's important. Okay, 3,600 slot. London is full. Hmm. Damn, 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 damn. I'm not sure if the game knows to build a new airport, but I will be restarting because starting with a hub with no slots is boring. Very boring. Let me just do a quick check on the World Traveler Index for this world, though. It's something I like to know so I can get a benchmark of what kind of World Traveler Indexes I can be expecting. Um, where are we? Uh, Once again, still getting used to all the tabs. I'm probably just gonna check the same thing. The World Traveler Index, 3,003. Something tells me that is just really high. Um, I kind of want to stay in this. Maybe I can rejoin this world with a different hub. What hub would be good? Let me think. Let me look at all the cities in this world and decide on a hub that would work. Paris could be good. Frankfurt could be good. Let's see. Paris is much significantly better than Frankfurt or Amsterdam, but significantly worse than London even. Uh, Chicago is very good. New York is exceptionally good. Hmm. Okay, if I start in New York, how can I structure my layovers? I can make my layovers from this side, from anything 3,000 kilometers or more away. I won't have many options if I do New York. I'll be able to do all the Central American cities. I will be able to. Yeah, basically, I'll be able to do all the Central American cities, some cities from South America, and I'll be able to then fly those to destinations in Europe. So that's one way I can do my layouts if I start in New York. Um, you know what? I'll check a few more worlds. Let me remember the date of this one, 67.7. Um, so, yeah, 67.7 has a 3.3 thousand World Traveler Index. So I'll keep that in mind. Oh, damn, the buttons are so small. I play on a phone, so the buttons are pretty hard to press, and it's not like when I'm recording and stuff. The gameplay is not smooth at all. It is quite laggy, quite a bit more laggy than when I'm not recording actually. Um, so often I have misclicks and like stuff like that. Sorry, it must be so painful to watch me type. Like I am just like so bad. Um, all right, let's take a look around in a few more worlds. See if I can find a world with space in London, and if not, I will go back to this channel here to start in New York, basically. Um, I want to start in Europe ideally because it's just in the nicest location, but I cannot since um, London is the only city in Europe that's worth starting your hub in my opinion, because if you're gonna have to make all your routes from one city, it might as well be a good city. So, yeah, it takes so long to get a second hub started, so you really need a lot of options from either one of your hubs. Uh, so once again, we're gonna be selecting London. Ooh, this one's different from the one in the last world. I think it's a bit smaller, which is okay. But this World Traveler is still probably around 30, like 100, which is still pretty good. Um, skip the tutorial, of course. We skipped the tutorial. Of course, we're level 2. Show me the World Traveler. Oh, 3,050. So that's quite a bit worse. I think I'd rather play on the other world, even while having a shit start, because I cannot start in London. But starting in London is actually such an important point. Um, I usually wouldn't emphasize it so much, but to me, it's the only viable start, and Paris. But of course, there weren't enough slots open in Paris either. Um, no, maybe I'll be okay. Maybe if I structure my company differently, and if I actually use um, cargo planes as well as passenger planes, I will not run out of routes that go to New York. So I'm gonna go back to that other world with that 3,300 World Traveler Index and just play in that, because I have longed to play in a world with a good World Traveler Index for so long. Of course, I'm gonna prioritize getting my second hub in London started. I'm gonna be doing strictly long range flights because that seems to be the meta, or the most effective tactic available for anyone who hasn't played games where meta is a important thing to know. But yeah, I really feel like um, long range is the way to go. There's the short range routes just seem to be really bad, um, and the short range aircraft, just because I think they've emphasized satisfaction as something that makes people willing to pay a high price for a ticket, basically. Um, yeah, basically with that detail, it's impossible to make a budget airline which charges max prices, basically, which is what I was like a quote unquote budget style airline, except with premium level prices. Um, yeah, all right, we will start in New York. If New York is full, oh, I didn't check to look. Oh no, then I'll have to withdraw and like start in Chicago or something like that. Skip. Maybe the tutorial has something useful in it, but it forces me to buy aircraft I don't want. So yeah, I can start in New York quite comfortably. Um, there's more than enough slots, and yeah. So, buy aircraft. Ooh. So the best aircraft definitely looks like the 707 320. It's stopover capable. It flies very quickly at 0.879 Mach, fuel efficient, and with a very, very long range. I am surprised. Um, the DC-862 is also available. It flies slightly slower and costs quite a bit more, and has slightly more range. So that's also quite useful. And we have the Tupolev 114, which is not that viable compared to the other two. The AN-24 for a small Caravel. That just looks terrible. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get a mix between the Boeing aircraft and the McDonnell Douglas DC-862. And mainly the only reason why I'd get the DC-862 is for the slightly superior range. Um, and then everything else I use the 320B because it's better value for the seats. Um, but not by much. Basically, it's slightly more fuel efficient and it's slightly faster, so it's a slightly better plane overall. But it's inferior capacity and it's inferior no, not its inferior capacity, but its inferior range makes it so that I'll sometimes need the other aircraft. But of course, I'll start out with my 707s. Um, I still think that going min seating will be the best because I am using stopovers and making up for it in other areas. It seems to not even be ideal anymore to use min seating. I feel like it's probably easier to use larger seats actually. I'll do a 19%. You know what? The first routes I make are going to be good. So I'm going to use a slightly larger business class. Basically, I'm going to be making large routes, and for larger routes, you want a larger business class. For example, London to Guangzhou, you probably want a 25% business class, while London to, I don't know, London to Winnipeg, you'd probably want a much smaller business class, like something like 14 or 12%. So I'm going to be doing most primarily larger routes first because I see that a lot of them are available due to the new routing system, which people are not used to. So that means I would want a medium-sized business class. So like the default, which is 23%. Of course, I cannot get any of those, and I'll order these aircraft. Now, the next thing I need to do, of course, is I need to order the slots for the routes. I think I'm going to plan to make most of my routes cross over Europe and then into Asia. I'm going to be picking decent cities like St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, I'll be doing a stopover and then landing in Beijing, for example. Wow, that really does cross the North Pole, eh? Oh, wait, no, that's trying to fly direct. So these are the kind of routes I will be making. Yeah. The slot requests, of course, do take a minute, which is not really a problem because I'm going to be trying to get each route right because I feel like micro will be slightly more important than macro in this game, meaning you have to make sure each route is right before you move on to the next, especially as you learn the differences between Air Tycoon 1 and 2. Of course, I could but just be spouting bullshit because like, obviously my first company did shit and I had to restart because I didn't know what I was doing. But, yeah. Anyways. Yeah, just waiting for slots is quite boring, yeah? So where else am I gonna want to make my route go to? I see Napoli is available, so I'm immediately drawn to that. Alexandria is available, so wait, let me just make sure. Yep. So I'm gonna get slots in Alexandria and Napoli because those are very viable. Alexandria and Napoli. See, these are what I would call medium-sized cities. With about 500 combined business and tour, and connecting with large cities like New York should give me some pretty good results. I'm gonna be using the second city as Beijing. I'll try and make Beijing my second hub because it's. I'll make London my second hub, and then Beijing after that. Yeah, so that means I'm gonna have to make at least one route to London. So that's gonna be annoying because I'm gonna have to, one thing I can do is I can do I'm not sure. I'm not sure how stopovers work in this game yet. I'll find out. I'll find out. So I'm gonna start out with a slightly negative price and increase these as I go. And every turn I'll basically increase them so that my plane is always 100% full. Not sure why I'm gonna do this, but I think I will. So I'm gonna set the preset for my long range routes to 4. Actually, I'll set my preset on 2. So can I set a name for this? 6,500. Yeah, let's go with 5,500 to 7 to 9,000 to 10,000 range. To 10,000 range. This will be my preset. That's pretty wide. So that's good. I will have 2 good meals and every single service available. So that will be my 5,500 to 10,000 route preset. You know what? That's a bit too little. I'll do 7,000. Wait, what? Why'd that not save? 7,000 to 10,000 to 10,000 km. I guess I didn't press OK, so once again, 2 good meals. And then we'll press confirm, I guess. I'll set this to 4,500 to 7,000 km, and what I'll do is I'll do 2 moderate meals, and I'll do all the cheaper services. So, yeah, that's still pretty expensive, $46 a person, but that's kind of reasonable for that price range. So, yep, let me confirm that. Okay, I actually really like this. This lets me quite easily organize. So, New York, how far is New York to St. Petersburg? I'm curious. 6,000. So, yeah, let me follow my own freaking. No, I'll just leave it neutral. My own fucking decisions religiously, and see if it works out. Yeah, I feel like that's really probably a decent thing actually. I'm gonna also get slots in Shanghai and Seoul, which are my favorite cities in Asia. And what else can I get? Like, what are these cities available too in Europe? We got the I don't know how to call it. I like to call it the fucking United Kingdom triple, because all of those cities are decent. Now there's nothing actually available to Shanghai that's not pretty terrible besides Dusseldorf, but Dusseldorf is pretty good and it's available, so we might as well. Wait, is Dusseldorf to New York available? That's important to check. And it is, so I will get slots in Dusseldorf afterwards, so that I do not waste my slot request I just made in Shanghai or whatever. So let's get a Napoli stopover route going. Of course to Beijing, because that's all I have. So both of these routes will be in that 7 to 10,000 kilometer range. So I'll use. Oh, I misclicked. Come on, GUI. Be responsive. Next. And next. Alright. So I really, really do like the presets, though. It's going to save me ages and ages of time. I just wish the GUI was less slow, as to be, easier to use. I'm going to get slots in Warsaw, Zawa. It's not great, but it's decent as a city, so that's pretty lit. Should I do Pescara? If I'm doing Warsaw, I better be doing Pescara, I guess. And that would lead me to Tripoli. And Tripoli looks good too. So let me get all of. Oh wait, I can only have 2 slot requests. Right. And they don't complete particularly quickly. I'm gonna just order some MD or DC 62s, just for that extra range. Of course, min seating for my first order. In the next orders, I'm going to start shrinking the classes, the business class, because I'm going to have to start making smaller routes. So I will order planes with a smaller business class to go with, because I feel like because the profit margins are smaller in this game, getting your class assignments exactly correctly is going to be a lot more important to not going negative, because that's actually a thing now. It's quite easy to go negative instead of quite difficult. So yeah. Anyways, it's gonna take me a while before I get around to using those aircraft, of course, because most of the routes I can do can also just be done with a DC-862. I think I shouldn't have, or with a 707. I don't think I should have got so many DC-862s. I don't think I can manage to use all of them. But we'll see. I think it'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Oops, don't want that. It's not a big deal, so yeah. Hopefully I didn't forget to include services for any of these routes, because I don't think that would end well. I could do Oslo. I don't know, if I'm doing Oslo, I might as well do Liverpool. the other one doesn't even seem quite worth it. So let's do Dusseldorf and Liverpool. Yeah. I think this company will do better if it still doesn't do well. I mean, I'm purchasing these aircraft instead of leasing even, which is, against what I usually do. I usually never start with expensive aircraft, you know what I mean? So it's quite unusual for me to even be doing what I'm doing now. Like it's like quite conservative. Like my profit margin at the beginning of most worlds would be around 10% of my value at turn. So that was quite extreme. I doubt I'll be able to hit 4% in these worlds, and 4% would already probably be quite good for Air Tycoon Online too. Of course, if you do manage to make it profitable, um, your company, then I think you'll end up with a very similar situation um, to Air Tycoon 1, or 1 or 2, where you just end up with more money than you can spend anyway, as long as you're basically profitable and making routes with your profitability. Yeah, my guess is that it's very similar in that sense, but it's just a bit harder to learn how to get there. I could do Toulouse. Toulouse is good. Um, I feel like I'm gonna have to eventually do Oslo. How's Dublin in this world? Dublin is pretty bad. Um, Tripoli is decent, so I'm gonna do Tripoli. Uh, where else was good? Basically, I'm just looking for cities that are available to New York. Another thing I could do is I could go this way. I could go to South America, where we have cities like Rio available. So let me do that. I don't know where else I'm gonna go from Rio, but it's obviously gonna have to go to Europe. But cool. Maybe I can even go this way around the world. I think it's a bit far. Yeah, 11,000. Sapporo might be close enough, but no, it's not. Uh, yeah, so this is kind of boring. Actually, it's just all long range routes. But what can I do? Until I get another hub in London, I really want it. But yeah, it's kind of annoying. Oh, I can't even get a single slot in London. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, if I can't get a slot in London, it'll take me forever to get another hub in London, which means I'll probably have to use, I don't know, Chicago as my next hub. Oh god. This game is going to be annoying to expand in because it'll take a long time to do what you want to do. Yeah, so 707s when possible, of course, to save those other ones for longer routes. Yeah, this is actually quite boring. Man, well, I hope I hope this goes well, to be honest, because I don't really want to restart again. Starting these games is surprisingly quite boring. As I said, I'm going to shrink this class to, let's go with 19%. 19% and 14 seats, that looks good. Not sure if that'll be too big or too small. 2 minute request time, so that's decent. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm just gonna be doing the same thing over and over again, making all these routes to cities in Europe, starting from New York and all that kind of stuff. It'll be just the exact same thing over and over again. So I'm gonna spare you guys watching that, and I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, making money.